Scenes like these were common along the Gulf Coast throughout the day on Tuesday. This is Tiger Stadium here behind me in Baton Rouge at LSU, and near whiteout conditions with heavy snow. It fell for a good portion of the day. And not only there, but all across the Baton Rouge area. These kids at LSU had a lot of fun there having snowball fights. I've seen some snowmen that have been made here, and just incredible scenes that have been seen across the Gulf Coast here. In all my years of doing weather, I've never seen anything like this. The first blizzard warning ever since weather records started being kept way back there in the late 1800s was issued for the southwestern part of Louisiana, Beaumont, Lafayette. Lafayette got close to a foot of snow today. This is New Orleans. You know, I grew up into this area. I'm not from New Orleans, but I spent a lot of time here. And you think of New Orleans, you think of tropical, you think of heat, humidity, and a couple cold beverages, right? Maybe the Saints. Who dat? And look at that. That looks like something you'd see in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, or in Colorado somewhere. Yeah, and it's still, the snow is tapering off in New Orleans this evening, but just incredible. So level 3 winter storm. This is my winter storm impact rating scale. 1 would be kind of just a nuisance. 5 is apocalyptic. I'm going to show you apocalyptic in a moment. This was a major winter storm, though, for southeast Texas here, for the Houston area. Houston didn't get as much as to the east. The storm was in the developing stages over Houston earlier today. And mostly what you saw some snow all the way on the beaches there in Galveston, of like 2 to 3 inches there, though. But then you jumped over to Beaumont, Lake Charles, Lafayette. This is where the bands of heavy snow. And it got started after midnight last night. And they started coming on shore here. And there was thunder and lightning associated with thunder snow today here in South Louisiana. And like I say, Lafayette getting close to a foot of snow here with blizzard warnings earlier in the day. That was reduced visibilities with strong winds and blinding snow. Apocalyptic snowfall amounts and just shutting everything down. That's what apocalyptic would be. Shutting everything down here. Interstates closed, the schools, businesses shut down, everything shut down here. This part of the country isn't used to the cold weather as you would expect. Occasionally they get a little ice down here, maybe an inch of snow, but nothing like this today. You know, it's rare for where I live here in northwest Texas to see a big snow like that. We get it more often than down here. But this was certainly impactful, and it went along the Mississippi Gulf Coast here, Biloxi. My cousin lives down south in Macomb. He had, I think, 4 or 5 inches of snow there. His kids had a blast in it. And then the apocalyptic snowfall amounts over along the Florida Panhandle tonight. Just insane, crazy. And if we look at travel, that's going to be the biggest problem into Wednesday here. Even though the snowstorm has ended in these areas, and there was probably even a little melting that took place, but now that the sun is down, it's going to be a really cold night, I mean brutally cold. We're looking at record lows down here in the close to single digits, especially over here in South Louisiana where it is snow-packed. There's going to be black ice. No travel tomorrow again. Schools closed. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if schools were out probably through at least Thursday, maybe even for the rest of the week. Just crazy. Yeah, it will gradually melt off, especially tomorrow as temperatures do climb above freezing over in these areas. But you're going to be dealing with black ice, especially tomorrow morning, and snowpack still on Interstate 10. Hopefully that'll get reopened. Hopefully everything will be better there. But dangerous, if not impossible, travel along Interstate 10 through Mobile, over towards the Pensacola area. Then you get over here towards Tallahassee, dangerous to near impossible travel with heavy snow and ice there. And even down into central Florida, there could be some slick spots with some freezing rain. And then tonight we see the snow spread over into places like Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, and even up into North Carolina. That's where the travel is going to be a problem. So, again, we go down here in the Gulf of America. I guess that's what we're calling it now. It's going to be hard for me to get used to that. But down here in the Gulf, we had this area of low pressure. It actually developed down here kind of along the Texas-Mexico border and then moved right across the central Gulf with that cold air, bitterly cold air, surging all the way into the northern Gulf. The setup was nearly ideal, intensifying low pressure, strong winds, heavy snow. And again, that's all moving over here into the Carolinas. Now, this time tomorrow, it should be a thing of the past, but at least for now, looks like some pretty rough go over there in the Carolinas tonight. But if we look here, you can see the snow ending now across all of South Louisiana, but you can see it developing towards Houston, and it really expanded over the southern parts of Louisiana, extreme south Mississippi, And then as you headed into the afternoon and evening, you can see that snow moving over into the southern parts of Georgia, over there into Carolina. Good part of Georgia being blanketed with snow, actually. And you can see that snow even down there in the parts of the Florida Panhandle. Even down into the northern Gulf, there's snow that is flying here tonight. But again, the snow, at least falling from a falling standpoint, has ended in Mississippi, most of Mississippi anyway, into Louisiana. And it will gradually taper off over here in Alabama and the Florida Panhandle later on this evening. But again, it's going to snow most of the night over there in the Carolinas. This is the high-resolution future tracker. And I will say this about this computer model. This is the HRRR. It tried to downplay the snow at the last minute. It tried to suggest that the heaviest snow was going to shift south. There are other high-resolution models that kept it right over the Lafayette, Louisiana area. So this didn't do real. It's caught up to everything now, but sometimes the HRRR will be off a little bit. It'll downplay things when it shouldn't. I think that this storm was pretty well forecasted, and I would say it was certainly on the higher end of things. I wouldn't say it overachieved, but maybe it did overachieve a little bit, especially points to the east. And it's going to be some big snowfall amounts. You can see it moving. You got these heavy bands of thunderstorms down in the Gulf here that moves into the colder air, and you get the sleet and the heavy snow from Tallahassee through, this is through 11 o'clock tonight. Just a nasty situation. Big winter storm over here. Southern and southeastern parts of Georgia. We're talking about towards Jacksonville, some sleet, maybe some freezing rain. Charleston, Folly Beach, Augusta, Georgia, all getting in on the act here with heavy snow late tonight and into early on Wednesday. But again, this does taper off, I think, gradually as we head into the daytime hours on Wednesday. So tonight, a rough go-over in the southeastern part of the country. If we take a look here, snowfall amounts being shown by weather models here, showing up in addition to what's already fallen, an additional 5 to 6 inches in Tallahassee. This is going to be a record there. In fact, snowfall amounts in Tallahassee could get up close to 10 inches, and this is the part of the storm that has shifted a little bit and probably overachieving some. In addition to what's already fallen, 4 inches in Albany, and this is again forecasted by computer models. Yeah, a widespread 5-10 inches anywhere in this dark blue area you see here. And again, that's just incredible. Even in the South Carolina gets snow occasionally, but snow like this would certainly be certainly on the higher end of history as well. Even into the coastal sections of North Carolina getting spanked with it tonight as well. So definitely history made today, history made tonight. This is something that we may never see again, or at least I may never see again in my lifetime with this type of a winter storm here. In comparison, the blizzard of 2009 here in Wichita Falls, similar to that. The big blizzard that they had up the Appalachian Mountains here in 1993, this is similar to that in comparison. Maybe not quite as much snow, but these parts getting hit with a rare blizzard like that certainly is crazy. Well, thanks for following me and subscribing and all that kind of good stuff throughout this winter weather event. I tried to do the best I could to keep you up to date with some videos here. You know, we won't do them all the time, but I'm going to try to be posting a little more frequent, just forecast and highlighting weather events in general in the coming months here, especially on my YouTube page, trying to grow that. That's been a slow grow, so please subscribe to it. If you haven't done so yet, let's try to get that to grow up some, so hopefully we can get a bigger following and I can do more frequent weather updates for you. Remember, I'm trying to give you the good information, not the bad. A lot of bad out there on social media, but there's some good too. And I'm trying to be one of the good and trying to teach you about weather and trying to teach you about the forecast instead of just throwing some numbers out there. Once again, my name is Ken Johnson. Been doing weather as a meteorologist for over 20 years. I'm accredited by the American Meteorological Society, so make sure to, once again, follow my social media platforms.